So welcome everyone to the eDelivery demo. My name is Amardeep. I'm the service delivery manager for the support office of eDelivery and EUSend. So let's go ahead and check out the eDelivery demo. So in this demo, we will first go reiterate it. Reiterate through the four corner model because it is important to understand the terminology because I'll be using that in the presentation. Then we'll talk about the demo scenario. What we are going to cover in the demo. Uh, then some configuration about the P mode, about the Domibus property configuration. We'll just have a quick look through the configurations, and in the runtime process we will actually see how our backend can send a message to access point, and then the processing steps at the sender access point, then how a message is sent to the receiver access point, and yeah, and then finally the final recipient can how it can download the message from the receiver access point. So first the four corner model we will go through again. So it is important to understand this terminology because I'll be using that in the following presentation. When I say corner one or C1, we should be able to understand that corner one is the party A backend which wants to send a message. Corner 2 or C2 is the sender access point which is associated with the original sender, and then at C2 is the sending access point which will send the message to the receiver access point, corner 3. And corner 4 here is the backend or the receiver backend which will receive the message. For example, we can assume that the party A is the hospital in Paris who wants to send some patient related information to a hospital in Brussels, which is party B. So they don't send the message directly to each other. The C1 do not send the message directly to C4, but via the access point. So these access points are C2 and C3. C2 is the sender access point associated with C1, and C3 is the receiver access point associated with C4. And this communication between C2 and C3 is basically eDelivery AS4 conversation, and this is secure with the eDelivery profile specifications. So in the demo scenario, we are going to use the four corner model. The protocol is eDelivery AS4 profile. Integration approach is the integration between the backend and the access point. In our demo, we are going to use the web service plugin. There are other plugins also available that they can be utilized, but in this demo, we are going to use the web service plugin, which is based on SOAP protocol. Discovery model is static discovery. So as Bogdan explained, that there are two discovery models, static discovery and dynamic discovery. In dynamic discovery, the other two e-delivery components such as SMP and SML comes into picture. But in this demo, we are going to focus on the static discovery, in which both the access point sender and receiver know about each other before exchanging the message. So the lookup is not dynamic but static. The security model we are going to use is the mutual trust. So uh, both the sender and receiver access point know in advance about each other, and they also have exchanged the keys, the public keys, so that yeah, they can exchange the messages. The security control is the inner security with the connector. Okay. Then we have the demo in detail. So as you can see on my screen, for corner one, we are going to simulate a backend with the SOAP UI. For corner two, as the access point, we are going to use Domibus access point. For the connector, we are going to use the WS plugin. Similarly, at corner 3 also, we are going to use Domibus as the access point and WS plugin as the connector. And then corner 4, the backend, corner 4 also, we are also going to simulate it using the SOAP UI. Little bit introduction about what is SOAP UI. So SOAP UI is an open source API testing tool for testing the SOAP and REST APIs. SOAP UI offers SOAP web services functional testing, REST API functional testing. SOAP UI is used as a substitute for Corner 1 and Corner 4 in this demo. Domibus. So as the access point, we are using Domibus. You can use from a list of conformant solution any conformant solution which is conformant to the eDelivery specifications. In this demo, we are going to use Domibus. So Domibus is a sample implementation or an open source project of AS4 access point. It is maintained by European Commission. Domibus can be used as a working solution in production environment, and many projects are already using Domibus in their production environment. It is also important to understand that uh, the users of the sample implementation remains fully responsible for the integration with the backend. So Domibus offers some plugins, but the integration with the plugins and the backend C1, C2, and C3, C4 remains the responsibility of the users who are implementing the access point. For the connector, we are using a WS plugin, which is web service plugin. uh, s- so as you can see on my screen, we have three default plugins that we offer with Domibus. Web service plugin, which provides a web service based interface for the connection between the backend and the access point. GMS plugin, which provides a queue based interface for the backend and the access point. And we also provide a file system plugin, which provides a file system based integration. So yeah, these are the three default plugins that comes with Domibus out of the box. And there is also a possibility to develop your own custom plugin. So if the following the above three plugins do not satisfy the requirements, and you think that you need to have some more functionality, then there is a possibility that you can develop your own custom plugin. So there is a plugin cookbook that is available on our Ceph Digital website, from where you can get all the instructions necessary to be able to develop your own custom plugin as well. So configuration. Now whatever I say is dedicated to Domibus access point. So we have some configuration in Domibus. For example, the p mode file, in which we configure the endpoint URLs for the sending and receiving access point. We configure the party names, so we identify the identify the access points using the party names. And once we configure everything, so the p mode is a XML file. Once we configure this XML file, then we go ahead and upload the p mode in the admin console of Domibus. We also have a Domibus property file, where we mention the trust store and key store. So Domibus works on this concept of trust store and key store. Trust store contains the public keys of all the receiving access point, which are used to encrypt the data that we are going to send. And it has a key store which contains the private key, which is used to sign the messages. In the runtime scenario, as I said, that we are going to see that how a backend can send a message, and we will go through the life cycle on the from corner 1 to corner 4. P mode, it is a collection of parameters that determine how user messages are exchanged between a pair of access point, that takes into account the quality of service, transmission mode, error handling, retry policy. So there are a lot of things that can be configured in the P mode. This is a sample snippet from the P mode, where we see that, okay, I have already configured two access point. I call them red and blue access point. So this is a snippet from the P mode, where we have mentioned the endpoint URL for the red and blue access point. So once we configure the P mode, we go ahead and upload the P mode in the admin console. So this is the property file where we mention, so among a lot of other configuration parameters, we configure the location of the key store, location of the trust store. Okay, so now we go through the runtime process. Uh, so here the first step is that the backend uh, which we are going to simulate using SOAP UI, corner 1 will send a message to corner 2, and we can check it out parallelly in the SOAP UI project. So as you can see on my screen, we are using the SOAP UI project. There are different services from the web service plugin. So I'm using the submit message service, and here I have to provide the from party. I'm sending it from blue to red, and some other parameters like the service action and original sender and final recipient. And then this is my payload, which is the base 64 encoded just a XML text which says hello. So here we can have attachments, audio, video. So eDelivery profile is payload agnostic, so you can send whatever payload that you would like. So once I have the message ready, I can just click here, and once I send the message uh, to the blue access point, I get a unique message ID in return. Let's go back. So that's the unique message ID that is generated by the Domibus access point and returned to the backend. Then the processing starts at corner 2. First is it will validate the user message whether all the parameters are correct or not, whether the from and to parties, the service action and other parameters are correct or not. So it will validate the user message. Then it will compress the user message using gzip. Then it will sign the compressed message using its private key from the key store. It ensures non-repudiation. Non-repudiation means that the sender cannot deny that it has not sent this particular message, and the receiver cannot deny that it has not received this particular message. Then as a next step, we have encryption of the signed and compressed message. So encryption is done at C2 using the public key of the receiver access point C3. Then we have localization of the recipient endpoint address. So as you remember that in the P mode, we have already configured the endpoint address of the red or C3 access point, which is identified from the P mode. And then finally, Domibus will send the encrypted message to the receiver access point. Then as a next step, we see this that the corner 2 is sending a message to corner 3, and it is secured by with the eDelivery specifications. Once corner 3 receives the message, it will also go through the sequence of steps that are: it will receive the encrypted message, it will decrypt the encrypted message using its private key, it will verify the signature of the sender to ensure non-repudiation, it will decompress the decrypted message, it will validate the original user message, and finally, after all the validation, once it has successfully received the message, it will send the acknowledgement back to corner 2, and then it will archive the message either in the file system or in the database depending on the configuration. So that's the acknowledgement that goes from corner 3 to corner 2 after validating and successfully receiving the message. We can check in the admin console. So I have it open. So this is the access point, the sender access point or corner 2. I can log in here with my credentials, and in the messages I can see that okay, this message was sent. I can see all the messages that were being sent or received by this access point from Domibus blue to Domibus red, and I see that the status is acknowledged. It means that the C3 access point has successfully received and send the acknowledgement back to uh, corner 2. So as a next step, the corner 4 will send the download request to the corner 3, and corner 3 will respond with the original user message to corner 4. We can check in our SOAP UI project. So we can call the list pending messages. So now I'm acting as backend corner 4. I want to list all the messages that are pending for me to download. So I see that, okay, this is the message that is pending for the download. Then I can call the retrieve message, and I provide the message ID that I want to download. I'll remove the response, and I call this service retrieve message, which will give me the original message that was sent by corner 1. And this is the payload, which is just yeah, base 64 encoded hello. Okay. uh, that